Welcome back to the Really Underestimate and to another edition of AEW Collision Out 10. And Kingson and Ortiz almost lost their friendship last year during a brief feud, but they worked together in a tag match against Danielson and Castanoli here. John Moxy was also back in action facing Shane Taylor, and we also saw Buddy Matthews face Daniel Garcia. Open match challenge from Adam Copeland was also on the card, and Thunder Rosa returned to singles action, but we started things off with Moxy against Shane Taylor. Mox is making his way to the free crowd playing Wild Thing to kick off the show. Taylor's entrance followed shortly after to set up the first match tonight. Lee Moriarty was at Taylor's side. These two men pride themselves on being among the best brawlers in the game, so this match did not start with collar elbow tie-up or an Irish whip. They were throwing hands from the moment they could reach each other. While they never really slowed down, they also kept the pace steady. They weren't trying to go from spot to spot without selling the severity of each move, which made it look more of a competitive fight than an average TV match. This is neither pretty or technically proficient, but it was a fun match to showcase one of the guys who has deserved to be pushed for a long time. The former world champion was able to make Taylor pass out a bulldog choke for the win, but Taylor refused to tap out. And on the whole, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I thought, this did as much for Taylor as it did for Mox. A really fun match, which Mox was always going to get the win. But I think it still worked nicely and gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Adam Copeland was then out for his open challenge, and the man who answered the call was Dante Martin from Top Flight. Nigel McGuinness pointed out how Martin looked happy, not nervous to get this opportunity. Copeland is no stranger to working with high flyers, so he was right at home facing this guy who could jump from the mat to the top rope in the blink of an eye. Whenever he could, the rated R superstar tried to ground Martin with strikes or submissions, but he was having a hard time combating some of the high flyers' offense at times. These open challenges have already proved to be a great way for Copeland to face people with younger talents and give them a showcase while the veteran still advancing his character and winning a hardball contest. Copeland speared Martin out of the air before locking in his version of the crossface, as the announcers referred to it as a grindhouse. The spear looked fantastic and was a great ending to an enjoyable match. He gave a promo post-match to Shivani saying the challenges are getting harder and he intends to keep fighting until he regains his TNT title. So kind of like the first match. Obviously the established star gets the win while still making the other side look good. So for me that's exactly what it's supposed to do, and it worked really nicely here and gets a 7 out of 10 from me. And then to Thunder Rosa versus Queen Aminata. And just one night after a match was that Aminata was back on TV against Rosa. They looked up and Mera pushed Aminata onto the ropes and talked about her trash and to set the tone. Queen took some trash before sending it back again and showing she wasn't intimidated. The show returned right as they began a nice exchange of forearm strikes, and they began with the Queen getting the better of it and then hit a running hip attack onto the corner, but Rosa avoided a second and started fighting back. After they both had several more standout moments, Thunder scored the win. Rosa's one of the best in AEW, and Elinada's great young talent who's just beginning to show what she can do. They put on a solid match and it made the Queen look fantastic in defeat. If they had 5 more minutes, it really would have stolen the show, but I think a good return for Thunder Rosa, also benefiting Aminata. So for me, worked nicely, 6 out of 10. We then got Buddy Matthews versus Daniel Garcia, and during an in-ring promo, Bullet Club Gold introduced a cardboard cutout of Juice Robinson to officially retire Carblade and kept Robinson around while he's recovering from an injury. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn came out and pitched joining forces as a supergroup to become unstoppable. After some thought Jay White and the Gunn scissored with them to make it official as the crowd cheered. The next match featured Garcia taking on Matthews, Brody King and Malachi Black are at ringside while Dudley Magic sat with the commentary team again. Before the bell, FTR came out to provide more backup for Garcia. Matthews had a significant size and power advantage as he put on a full display in their initial exchange by knocking Garcia down several times without breaking a sweat. During the break, Matthews began faking a knee injury that had some people on social media convinced he was hurt because he was selling it so well. He eventually revealed his ruse, but it didn't that mean the match was in a bag. But Garcia kept finding ways to fight back and prove that both men had trouble beating a counter after taking so much damage out of the ring. This was a high energy match with some really good storytelling. Both of these guys probably feel like they have something to prove, and this match certainly allowed them to prove that. Garcia looked like he was about to succumb to Matthews before he rolled into the jackknife and scored the win. A huge brawling shield that drew out several members of the roster. The show went to another break with everyone still fighting, but a really strong match and segment. 7 out of 10 from me. We then got Roderick Strong versus Matt Sidow. Sidow obviously suffered a loss to Jericho on Rampage and has shown no signs of it being affected to it in this match. Taven and Bennett accompanied Roddy to the ring, gave him his usual unfair advantage. The Undisputed Era, the Diamond Mine and the Undisputed Kingdom have been kept him in stables for years, so his character understands how to use allies to his advantage during matches better than most. This match had a lot of proficient wrestling. After that, we'd just seen the previous bouts. It felt slightly underwhelming, which is fair to say when it actually was a pretty decent match if seen on its own. Strong picked up a predictable but hard fought win, and gets a 6 out of 10 for me. I think like I said, predictable But it was a win that I think he had to fight for. And yeah, that kind of did its job. Nothing really more I was expecting from this one. Just building strong up. But moving on into Kingson and Ortiz versus Danielson and Castagnoli. And yeah, Danielson was looking to prove he could out-wrestle Kingdom. So they started the match. He took the Mad King down and celebrated in the corner with jumping jacks. The American Dragon focused on strikes while the former RH World Champion was showing off his power whenever he was a legal man. Ortiz and the Kingdom just straight up fighters, so they did whatever they could to take the upper hand. Danielson hit Ortiz with a running knee to get a clean and decisive win to close the show. And yeah, a big win for the BCC here. Danielson always getting one over on Kingson. William saying it's the worst night of his life, losing, etc., etc. That was, maybe a bit over the top. But I think definitely setting up a potential future feud there, which could be decent going forward. So it gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Good stuff. And overall, Collision this week gets a 7 out of 10 for me. For me, this was a really, really strong episode of Collision. From start to finish. The action from start to finish, just basic pro wrestling. building... one star up in defeat while benefiting the guy that's winning, obviously. I thought, just throughout the show, it was booked really nicely and was a really fun show in general. So, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.